What's up, guys? Happy New Year's Eve. We got one here from Chris Williamson. We don't need more weak men. Interviewing Dry Creek Dewayne. Let's get into it.
Balance between the hardness and the softness in men.
I'm still old school. Um, I'm still very old school. Um, Now there comes a point where it can be debilitating to those around me. Okay. If I bottle everything up inside so that I get to the point that I am toxic or debilitating to those around me, then I need to get some help. But as long as I'm not, I don't need to add more burden for them to carry. That's just me.
Can you be a bit more specific about what that is, how that shows up for you?
Um, my my wife has been encouraging me for a while now for me to go and talk to somebody. Just there's years and years and years of, I mean, there were a lot of rough years there. Um, but I'm like, I can't do that. You know, I mean, I know the guy gets paid to sit there and, but it's not, it's just not necessary, you know? I'm still I'm still old enough and I'm of the school. It's like, just, just deal with it.
Suck it up.
Suck it up. You know, I broke 3 ribs one time in a barn, saddling horses, horse threw a fit, took 8 aspirin and got on that horse and did a 4-hour ride because I had a job to do. It's my job.
I like it. The suck it up and soldier on mantra. It's classic. Men have always been society's workhorses. They're expected to endure silently. The man here is clinging to that rugged individualism. But let's face it, decades of societal shaming have made men bottle everything up until they break. And therapy is marketed like a quick fix, but who wants to pay someone to parrot back what you already know? I mean, his story of broken ribs and perseverance embodies what men were once admired for, but in today's cultures, they call it toxic masculinity. And newsflash, stoicism isn't toxic, it's survival.
Now, I know, let's go back to balance. Okay.
I was about to mention that.
I understand. I'm with you 100%. But at the same time, your balance and my balance and his balance are different. And so I think a man has to find his own balance. And you're going to get so many messages on here disagree with this. But I think that this thought of men's mental health, emotional health, go get help, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's out of place, but I think like everything else, I think it could be taken to the point that men just become weak. And brother, let me tell you, in this day and age, we don't need more weak men. Now when your internal battles come to the point that you need help because they have weakened you, then get help, you know. But I think everybody's balance is different. And I fear there was a problem for years on this side, but I fear, just like everything else, with that subject being pushed the way it is, we're going to get out of balance on the other side. And it's like, and everybody needs therapy for everything.
Yeah, balance is subjective and he's spot on. Men don't need to become emotional puddles. And yes, mental health is critical, but overcorrecting creates weak men who crumble at life's smallest hurdles. Modern culture's obsession with therapy often feels like an industrialized attempt to emasculate men. I mean, if you stop and look around, do we really need more simps and over medicated pushovers? No, we need strong men who can hold the line. And the key is knowing when to seek help and when to man up. It's not a one size fits all, and anyone says otherwise, they're probably selling something.
This is the nuance, I think, around what we were talking about, type A problems, type B problems.
Right.
Because it's easy to just take that as one single meal on a plate as opposed to multiple different pieces,
Right.
or a onesie
Right.
that you put on
right.
as opposed to an outfit that's piecemeal and put
Right.
together. So there's a British writer called Matthew Syed who's coming on the show soon. And the interesting thing about tennis as a sports reporter is that you had three phenomenal world champions all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You had Nadal, you had Djokovic, and you had Federer. And he used to go to Wimbledon and he would see how they were warming up. And each had a different approach. So he'd go and see Nadal and he's just raw aggression, his top's off and he's hitting the ball as hard as he could and he's sort of just fury. And then he'd go and see Djokovic and he's like a robot. And this guy's precise, precision, rationality. And then he'd go and see Federer and he's playing trick shots. He's laughing and he's having fun and he's sort of flirting with the ball girls and stuff like that. And each of these guys have won titles while all of them have been playing, and they've traded places, some on this court, some on a different type of surface, etc. But if you were to look at any of them and say, in order for me to be a world champion, I must be, okay, well, which one? Because all of them were world champions.
Yes.
And this is, I think, you're right. The message may largely have swung too far back toward the you cannot deal with any difficulty. You must prioritize your internal state over external responsibilities, mindful Mondays and time off Tuesdays and, cookie Wednesdays.
Yeah.
And it's trying to find who's this message for particularly. And I think really trying to get people that are listening to feed it through the filter of, is this for me? Is this for someone else?
Right.
And that point around just go harder, bro, can cause you to have a heart attack laid in bed next to your wife.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, that's something that I probably do need to heed.
Right.
And on the other side, like, am I a useless blob of emotional nothingness?
Right.
Okay, well, maybe I need a bit more David Goggins in my life.
Right.
And I think finding that balance and not having a one-size-fits-all answer.
So how does a man, an individual, pick any individual, how does he find that balance that fits him?
The tennis analogy is brilliant. You have all three are champions and they're all different in their styles. And men should embrace their unique strengths instead of conforming to societal molds. The push towards mindful Mondays and self care Tuesdays sound good on paper, but let's be real. The pendulum has swung too far. Men are being told that every tough moment requires a couch and a therapist, and balance isn't about avoiding discomfort. It's about knowing when to fight through it and when to step back. Not every man needs a David Goggins approach, but turning into a coddle blob isn't the answer either.
With difficulty. I think for me, it's come with age. It's come with learning myself. It's come with experience of understanding what happened the last time that this situation occurred and how I felt.
Right.
And trying to.
So what would you encourage or advise a young man, 19, 23, who doesn't have the benefit of the age and the experience? And what would you advise him and say, look, this is kind of an area that might help you find your balance?
I think checking in with yourself and not treating your first response as always the correct one. I think the immediate sort of reflex that we often have, especially as young men, young and men, is an issue because that you haven't accumulated enough experience for you to be able to call it gut instinct wisdom.
Right.
What it is probably your default response, which is from childhood, from the group that you grew up in. Maybe it's dad's pattern, maybe it's mum's pattern, maybe it's the teacher and the way that you had to protect yourself in school. It's unlikely that that is the best way for you to deal with things. So I think don't believe everything you think.
Yeah. Can we boil it down to a bouillabaisse and say, look, when you have the thought, don't trust the thought. I need to do this or I need to do that. What if we start asking ourselves why?
Yeah, experience is the best teacher, and young men rarely get a chance to learn because society has neutered their instincts. The advice here is solid. Question your gut reactions because they're often programming from childhood. But here's the kicker: today's culture doesn't let men fail and grow. Schools punish masculine behavior, dads are absent, moms are overbearing. Your perfect mantras don't help. The solution: trial by fire. Young men need mentors, tough love, and a room to make mistakes without being vilified for it.
Why do I need to run 300 miles with two broken legs? Because David Goggins said so? You know, why do I need to do that? What is the purpose? Not why for me, but why do I need to do that to make myself the man I need to be for those around me? Why do I need to say, you know what? I need to spend more time in the backyard with a cigar. Why do I need to do that? And if the answer is because I'm becoming overwhelmed, overtight, losing my balance, losing my focus on what really matters in life, I'm becoming hard to live with to those that I care the most about, to those who I am the most responsible for. So the why is this will make me a better person for those around me. Me being able to bench press 200 pounds as opposed to 180 pounds does not necessarily make me a better person for those that I'm here to serve. It feeds my ego. So maybe a little more time in the gym doesn't answer the why, and a little more time in the backyard with my kids, that gives me a better answer to the why do I need to make this choice as opposed to that choice. And maybe that's a little more accessible to a young man without a lot of experience.
Finally, some wisdom is to focus on what truly matters. Lifting heavier weights won't fix your relationships, and grinding yourself into dust doesn't serve your family. And the why question is gold. Most men are chasing someone else's goals instead of their own. Social media glorifies extremes: run 300 miles, bench 400 pounds, make $1 billion. But what about being present for your kids or building a legacy that isn't just Instagram bragging rights? He nails it. Purpose isn't about ego, it's about impact. Anyways, guys, men today are bombarded with conflicting messages: be vulnerable but not weak, succeed but stay humble, lead but don't dominate. Society's pendulum has swung so far from shaming stoicism to glorifying victimhood, leaving men confused and frustrated. Destruction of the family unit, fueled by flawed feminism and corporate greed, has robbed men of purpose and connection. The solution lies in balance: reject the extremes, reclaim your agency, prioritize what matters: family, legacy, and self respect. Seek mentors and community over therapists if it aligns better with your goals. Stop chasing trends and ask yourself, why am I doing this? Traditional values and self discipline will rebuild what's been lost, but it starts with men refusing to buy into the modern narrative of weakness. Anyways, guys, that's the end of the video here today. If you like what you've seen today, hit that like button, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Drop me a comment down below and let me know what you think. Have a happy new year tonight. Be safe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.